Barack Obama talking to Wolf Blitzer. Joining me now from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, is ManpowerGroup's president for the Americas, Jonas Prising. Jonas, the problem of getting that unemployment rate in the US down from 9.1 or 9.2% and creating those extra 125,000 jobs just to bring the level down. What's gone wrong?
Well, the short answer is demand. Employers today are so sophisticated that they will only hire into their organizations if they can see demand occurring. They don't hire in anticipation. They don't hire based on hope. They hire when they see demand. And as you look back onto this very slow recovery, you have a consistent slow jobs recovery as well. Right. Just as in the UK, as well as in Europe, you have growth, but it's just very slow.
Okay. But if I look then at the economic numbers, it doesn't matter whether we talk about consumer confidence, which is at a 30-year low, consumer sentiment numbers from Michigan. We can talk about the second quarter GDP, 0.8%. Retail, whichever number you want to take. The outlook for that employment cannot be regarded optimistically.
I think that as we look ahead, we have to realize that we are on a path of a slow recovery. We are in economic purgatory. So this will take a long time to work through. There are no simple solutions to this path. And if you look back, really, the recovery and the recession associated, of course, the recession and the associated recovery, really is a trend of less job recovery that occurred already for the last 10 years. Job growth over this last cycle was much, much slower than any other economic cycle that we have seen over the past 25 years. So it has really come to the fore in this recession and recovery, but it was already a trend that had been established well before this recession.
Do you think in the UK, we're at 7.2, 7.3%, in the US at 9.1%, 2%, in the Eurozone, 7-8%, do you think we are going to have to adjust our thinking to accept higher levels of unemployment as being the norm? In other words, you and I remember traditional view of full employment was 4%, 6% and 4%. If you're really lucky, on a good year, you got down to 4%.
I think that is exactly the issue that we will have to grapple with in the future. The danger is, and I think as time goes on, it is becoming increasingly more evident, is that some of the effects on the job market, which are cyclical, are becoming structural.
Right, but Jonas,
so
let me just interrupt you.
Sorry.
Let me just interrupt you there. But just to counter that point, Germany, which came out of the recession and managed to lower unemployment dramatically by its fiscal, by its export-led growth. Now, we can't all do an export-led growth model. Somebody has to be the buyer, somebody has to be the seller. But Germany's proved it can be done.
Germany has proven that it can be done, but Germany's approach to the recession is really an effect of a much longer-term view in Germany of what Germany's life or future as a nation should be. So their preeminence, for instance, and dominance around green jobs creation, which is proportionately significantly higher than any other country, maybe with the exception of China, was a policy that was started already 12, 15 years ago. They decided, as a nation, we need to become very good at green technologies. Hence, we will pay 4 to 5 times the market price for anybody who brings a green technology, an energy that is generated through green technology. And now we are here, 15 years later, with certain sectors where Germany has a preeminent global position. And that is the task that we as nations within, in particular the developed world, will have to grapple with. How do we compete not only within companies and with companies, but as nations in this increasingly global world where emerging markets are driving very rapid growth, both from a domestic market perspective, but also from an export perspective. So that is, Germany is a very good example of structural change with a a clear idea of how they wish to build their future as a nation.
Jonas, you and I will talk more about this in the months ahead. Wonderful to have you on the program tonight. Thank you very much for joining us from Milwaukee in Wisconsin. Well,